The calendar keeps moving, but your Tuesday still looks like last Tuesday. You know the one. Same coffee, same chair, same little burst of hope when you open the app and see a week that already feels spoken for. You tell yourself the days are full, which is true. What nobody tells you is that full is not the same as distinct. A packed week can still vanish without leaving a bruise. That is the part that feels wrong. Not the time passes, that part was never in doubt. The strange part is how it passes in a costume you keep wearing. Same errands, same messages, same half-finished thought about starting something on Monday, and then letting Monday become background noise by Wednesday. I did this last week, opening a notebook I had bought for a better version of myself, and then spending 10 minutes deciding where the pen should live. Very important work, nothing happened. That is how the year disappears, not in one dramatic collapse, in repetition, in the way your days stop introducing themselves. Researchers at the University of Birmingham found in a study of 577 participants that older brains transition between neural states less frequently, which helps make time feel faster. That sounds technical, but the human version is simpler. If your inner life keeps landing in the same place, your mind has less to mark. One week stops having edges, so the next one slides over it. The limit here is obvious. That study shows a pattern, not a destiny. You do not need to feel older for this to start. You only need your days to become familiar enough to blur. The brain is a terrible accountant when the receipts all look the same. It counts the bill, not the details. And that is why the week can be crowded and still empty in memory. The messages were answered. The groceries were bought. The laundry was folded. The calendar was full, like a desk full of papers is full. It does not mean anything was registered. It just means nothing interrupted the pile. Try adding one thing that does not belong. Take a different route for no reason. Eat lunch away from the usual screen. Put one odd appointment in the middle of the week that only exists to break the pattern. Not to improve your life, to give your mind something it can tell apart from the rest. Because the real problem is not that you are doing nothing. It is that you are doing recognizable nothing. The same morning in a different shirt. The same evening with a different headline. By Friday, the hours have the texture of copy paper, and the body notices before the mind does. You reach for a memory of the week and find a spreadsheet with no highlighted cells. The dentist appointment is there, the bill is there, the strange little conversation with the neighbor is already gone. Even the thing you were annoyed about on Tuesday has been flattened into general irritation. Researchers have found that novel experiences slow perceived time by giving the brain more distinct events to encode. That means the day does not become longer because it is exciting. It becomes longer because it has more corners. A new place to sit, a different order, a moment your brain cannot auto-complete. The limitation is simple. Newness fades if you turn it into another routine. So the answer is not to chase a life that looks impressive from the outside. It is to stop letting every day arrive dressed like the one before it. A single new detail can do more than a whole week of well-managed sameness. One strange coffee shop, one different walk, one evening spent learning the name of a tool you have been ignoring in the drawer. You can feel the resistance already. Because routine is efficient. It is tidy. It lets you move through the morning on almost no thinking. That is the trap. Efficiency is wonderful when you want to get dressed. It is expensive when it starts compressing your years into one long repeat button. And the cost is not abstract. You get to December and cannot remember what made this one different from the last one. Birthday arrives and feels like a callback. You stand in a room full of familiar people and cannot place when the last conversation happened because it may as well have happened yesterday. That is not because your life is empty. It is because your mind had nothing new to pin it to. If you want the year to feel like a year, it needs markers. Not big ones, just enough friction for memory to catch. A different playlist for certain tasks, one day a month with no fixed route, a meal cooked from scratch using a recipe you have never tried. Not for self-improvement, for evidence. The evidence matters because memory is not impressed by intention. It remembers what can be separated. It remembers the first time you took the wrong exit and found a better bakery. It remembers the afternoon that broke the pattern. It forgets the 9 identical ones in between. That is the uncomfortable part. You can be busy enough to feel tired and still not be building a year. You can fill a calendar the way people fill a pantry with the same 3 items, and then wonder why every meal tastes like Tuesday. The schedule looks responsible. The memory looks starved. And then one day you notice you have been treating time like a storage unit. Everything is packed in, nothing is labeled. So when you go looking for the past, you come back with boxes you cannot open. The fix is embarrassingly small. Change one repeated thing before it hardens. The mug, the route, the order of the morning, the seat by the window. Just one. Not because change is magical, because sameness is slippery. You will probably try to protect the routine anyway. It feels safe. It lets you move without deciding. But safe days can still disappear. A life made only of familiar steps starts to feel less like a life and more like a loop you agreed to by accident. Most misleading part is that the loop does not always feel bad while you are inside it. The week can be comfortable, even calm. Then you look back and realize comfort is not the same as density. A soft blanket can still cover an empty frame. That is why the calendar lies. It tells you what was scheduled, not what was lived. It knows about the meeting at 10 and the dentist at 3 and the grocery run after that. It does not know that all three happened in a state of near sameness that left no fingerprint. Make the fingerprint on purpose. Leave one slot unoptimized. Let one afternoon be slightly inconvenient. Call it a different name in your own head. Anything that forces a pause will do. The point is not to become dramatic. The point is to become distinct. Once you notice this, you start seeing how much of life is built from copy-paste. The same sentence in different group chats. The same walk to the same place. The same complaint delivered to the same person while the week quietly folds in on itself. It is not that you are wasting your days. It is that you are spending them in a form the brain stores like white noise. That is why the years after a certain age can feel like they started moving faster. Not because the clock changed, because the record got thinner. Less novelty, fewer hard edges, fewer scenes your mind bothered to keep. The body keeps paying either way. You still get tired. You still need rest. You still age in the boring, ordinary way that happens even when you do everything correctly. But your memory can make that stretch feel longer or shorter, depending on what you give it. The same year can pass like a hallway or a room full of doors. Researchers at LMU Munich found in a study of 499 participants that time perception accelerates with age, specifically for longer spans, like a decade, peaking around 50. That is not a verdict on getting older. It is a warning about what happens when years stop offering clean breaks. The limit is clear. The study is about longer spans, not the feel of a single afternoon. And that is the thing you feel when you say, almost joking, that the weeks are melting. They are not melting, they are blending. One weekday into the next, 1 month into the next. Enough sameness and your mind stops bothering to count. It just keeps moving. That is why the guilt usually goes to the wrong place. You think you are failing at time management when the deeper issue is that your life has become too easy to skim. A person can skim through a year the way they skim through terms and conditions. Technically present, mentally elsewhere. I know because I did the same thing 2 months ago. I spent an entire Sunday getting organized and somehow managed to alphabetize a drawer of old chargers I have not used in years. A masterpiece of avoidance. The day was full, the memory was not. That is the embarrassing truth sitting under all of this. You can make yourself busy with the kind of tasks that produce no lasting shape. You can keep the calendar respectable and still feel time slipping through you like water through a cheap sieve. The year does not vanish because you were not living. It vanishes because what you lived did not ask to be remembered. So ask more of a day than completion. Ask it for one thing you can point to later without squinting. A different conversation. A wrong turn that becomes a new habit. A recipe with ingredients you do not already know by heart. One small interruption is enough to make a week stop looking like its neighbor. Because once the pattern is obvious, you start seeing how much of your life is a hallway of identical doors. Same handle, same paint, same sound when they close. And on some nights, you are the one walking it, phone in hand, telling yourself tomorrow will be different, while tomorrow is already borrowing today's clothes. The open notebook is still there on the table. The week is still waiting.